Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. I'm Brian, Mr. Smith Kitchen. If you're new to my channel, sorry. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you found me. I hope you get something out of us. If you're returning, thank you. I appreciate it as always. I know you're sitting there thinking, what the heck are you doing? That's what I'm trying to figure out exactly what. Oh, it's a bleach stain. So I guess it's not coming off. But if you're returning, thank you. I don't take your time for granted. And I thoroughly enjoy the fact that you take time out of your day to watch me cook, bake, and everything else we do, which is mostly cooking and baking. But we do some other stuff, like we'll be gardening here before too much longer. But anyhow, tonight, got a lot going on. It's Wednesday. Always seems to be stuff going on. But I thought we'd do some beef and noodles. Now, this recipe, it goes together rather quick. I have made it one other time, but I made it my own. So I took from a couple different recipes and then threw some stuff in it that I thought me and Chris would, that me and Chris do like. It wasn't a thought would like. I think you'll like it too. Like I said, it's a quick recipe. The hardest, the thing takes the longest is cooking it. Throwing it together takes no time at all. But anyhow, before I forget, don't forget to subscribe if you'd be so kind. The notification bell is right beside the subscribe button, and that'll let you know when my videos come out if you're so inclined. Thumbs up and thumbs down are great. I don't, they're great when you do it. It lets me know how I'm doing, good or bad. And they do help grow the channel to try to grow our neighborhood. And that's what we're about here, is promoting being a good neighbor, by cooking and baking and having, letting friends eat, having friends eat, strangers, whatever. So, thumbs up and thumbs down are important. Like I said, they do get us more exposure to grow the neighborhood. Comments, awesome. Just be respectful. That's all I ever ask. We are a very diverse community here, and we are respectful of each other. So, that being said, let me get you down here to the countertop, and we'll start making our beef stew. All right? I'll be right back here in a second. Okay, so, as always, I have the recipe written down in my notebook. If this were a new recipe, which we've only had this once, I would say... if we don't like it, we'll pitch it, modify it, make it our, even more so our own. But I've already done that, and it's a keeper. So that being said, things you will need: you will definitely need a stock pot of some sort. Not a big one. I mean, you don't need a 23 quart, gig, and you want it to be a heavier bottom pan. And what we're doing is we're going to heat this up. We're going to put about a tablespoon or two of oil in here, in the bottom of your pot, because we've got now I'm going to give you the recipe as I have it written down, but I'm actually doubling it because what we want to do is we're going to bring this up to temp, which means we're going to see just whispers of smoke and the oil will be dancing, which will be pretty cool. Once it gets to that point, we're going to take our the ingredients list is 1 pound of, I'm using chuck roast, but you can use sirloin steak, whatever you have in it at the moment, whatever you can afford. I'm using chuck roast though, and we're just going to sear this in this pan. So let me get this heated up, and then we will we'll talk about how to sear this meat. All right. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we got a little whispers of smoke going, and the oil is starting to dance. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this meat, and we're just going to we don't want to crowd the pot by any means. We're going to put it in here, and we're just going to cook it on each side. We don't have to cook it all the way through. We're just searing the outside. We're getting a nice crispness on it. So we'll go ahead and get that in there. And then we'll just turn it as we cook it. We'll cook it like for a minute on each side, and then run it from there. Sorry, I had to go get tongs. But we also want to leave it, when you do this, I mean, you'll see, you want to leave it on the side long enough that it browns it a little. And we're going to try to get some font at the bottom of this pan, which would just be like the browning off of the, you know, like the little charred bits off the beef. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see that right there, but see how it's starting to brown? That's what we're looking for. I'm just going to do that on all 4 sides, and then we'll move on to the next step after I go through all this meat. Okay, so we got all our meat seared, and we're going to get it all out of the pot. See how it's got all that, what looks like burnt stuff on it? That's font, and you want that. That's flavor. Is all that is. So the next thing we got to do after we get all this meat out of here, that looks, you should smell the kitchen right now. It smells absolutely just divine. Is we're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to put her in there. All right, and we are going to melt this down because we're about to saute up some onions. All right, butter is melted, and if you can see how that brown is starting to come off the bottom there, that's going to be that's just flavor all over the place. It's going to help make this dish so flavorful. So now we got 1 medium onion, and you can slice it up, you can dice it up, however you want to do it. I just rough chopped it. Yeah, well, rough diced it. They're not huge chunks, but they're not small chunks. And we're just going to let these get soft. You know, it's going to take about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe depending on the heat of your pot. So, we'll go ahead and get these softened, and then all we got left to do is just dump a bunch of stuff in here and let her cook. So we got some good color on here, and our onions are soft. Doesn't take long. And like I said, and when it comes to that meat, I was thinking about it. Yeah, you can use any kind of meat you would like. If you are using a pot roast, though, you know, or a chuck roast or something of that nature, and it's got big chunks of fat on it, you definitely want to cut the big chunks off. You want to leave the marbling for sure, and smaller chunks. That's what gives you your flavor, and that's what adds to this font in the bottom of this. Alright, so next thing we need to do is you can use a small can or 2 of mushrooms, is what we put in it. Now, a recipe that I started with actually called for peas, and we tried that last time, and it was okay. You know, it wasn't anything like, wow, the peas we actually found were overpowering, but we really like mushrooms. And then we're going to put a couple bay leaves in here. Alright, and then we're going to do 2 cups of beef broth. Now, the original recipe with the 1 pound of beef called for 1 cup of beef broth. Now, but since I'm using 2 pounds and we're feeding more, I don't remember how many the original recipe is supposed to feed. I use 2. Plus, it's going to evaporate a little bit as you cook it down. So we got my 2 cups of beef broth in there, and I will leave the recipe not only in the description for this. I'm going to start doing that. But if you look up our Facebook group, Mr. Smith's Kitchen, it'll be on there also. So yeah, we are officially on Facebook. We are on Instagram, and we're selling cakes. Well, pies and pies at the moment. But I have 1 package of onion soup mix of your choice. Mine just happens to be Lipton. I'm gonna throw that in, and that's just gonna, you know, give that just so much more flavor. You know, without having to go through the spice cabinet, so to speak. Give that a stir. And then we got 3 ingredients left, and they're easy. Now, I am using 1/8 of a teaspoon, but these 3, like the thyme, I'm putting in some ground thyme, all right, powdered thyme, and it's just a pinch. All right, well, a pinch to me is about 1/8 of a teaspoon, plus we like the flavor of thyme, so I'm good with that. And it's going to be salt and pepper to taste. Okay? So, salt and pepper to taste to me is, I start with 1/8 of a teaspoon, and then I work my way up from there. Alright, the last thing we need to do is put our meat back in, along with all those juices that are in there. And we're done with anything we have to do at the moment. All right, because the only thing we got left to do now is let this cook and pretty much make noodles. And that'll be it. So, what do we have to do with this? Well, we're going to put a lid on it. Well, we're going to bring it up to a boil. All right, we want to get this up to a boil. And then we're going to turn it down to a simmer. Let me get you up here so I can see your beautiful face. There you are. Yay. You're so cute. So, we're going to bring this up to a boil. And then we're going to turn it down to a simmer. And we're going to put the lid on it. We're going to let this cook for anywhere from 55 minutes to an hour and a half. Here's what we're looking for. We want the meat to be tender. All right, so it'll almost fall apart. You want to be able to bite into it and not have it be chewy, but truly, you know, a good quality, like you would a good quality steak, for that matter, or stew. We're looking for that exact same thing. And depending on the size of the meat that you cut, your cubes, it could take anywhere from 50 minutes to an hour. So if you cut them up smaller, it's going to take less, it could take up to 50 minutes. If you left them kind of big, it could take an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, hour and 50 minutes. So I'm going to bring this up to a boil, which it's almost there now. We're not real far off of it. And once it starts boiling, I'm going to turn it down to a simmer, put the lid on it, and let this cook until it's tender. So when we come back, we'll do the last couple things and make some noodles. All right, I'll see you here in a second. Okay, so we are to the point where we are tender with our beef. It's been about 55 minutes to an hour. I probably maybe even cooked it a little longer than necessary, but that's all right. It's not going to hurt anything. So we'll give her a good stir, but I'm telling you, the whole house is just permeated with the smell of beef and noodles. It is absolutely amazing. So, first thing we're going to do, now that we've got it to where we want it to be, we're tender, is I'm going to go ahead and take these bay leaves out of here. We don't need the bay leaves anymore. They are, you can leave them in there, but you don't want to eat them. They don't digest, and they're not poison. They won't make you sick. But where they don't digest and they don't break down, these edges are sharp. They can get you, on the inside. So the next thing we're going to want to do is take 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. All right, and we're going to put them in some water. About 3 tablespoons of water, and we're going to mix it up. Now with cornstarch, you want to give it you always want to give it a pre-mix when you're putting it into something to thicken. Because if you don't, guess what I did? That is not cornstarch. That is powdered sugar. That's what I get for not reading the label first. So we're going to get some more water. We don't want sweet stew. We want thickened. We want it to be thick, not sweet. So let me get some water and the cornstarch, not the powdered sugar, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So anyhow, water, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Now, if you're making this recipe per my actual written down recipe, it's only going to be 1 thing of cornstarch. And like I said earlier in the video, I will leave this down at the bottom in the description, so that way you have the real ingredients list, and because I'm sure I have made a mess of this. And I see my water's boiling for my noodles. Now, when it comes to the noodles, you use whatever noodles you like. I grew up using egg noodles for beef and stew, or beef and noodles. And on occasion, my mom would buy the thick frozen noodles. We prefer more of a Amish noodle, and if they would ever bring the ones back out that I like, or that we all like, that would be great. But they haven't yet, so we're using just a standard medium Amish style noodle. All right, so now we got that mixed up. We're gonna go ahead and pour this in here. And we're just going to stir it in real good. And we're just going to let this simmer with the lid off of it until it thickens. I'm going to stir it occasionally. Meanwhile, I'm going to get the noodles in there. And then when I come back, we'll combine the two and give it a taste. All right, I'll see you here in a second. So it was one of those videos where I was editing and got all the way to the end to realize that the end wasn't on this video. So I didn't get to show you the end result. Well, here is our end result right here, or what's left of our end result right here. This is our beef and noodles. The noodles are an Amish style noodle, medium Amish style noodle, and it turned out amazing. So it's not hot anymore. It's been in the fridge for a minute now, and but I wanted you to see it. It is probably one of the most, it's one of the richest tasting beef and noodles I've ever had in my life. Making it into almost a gravy by adding the cornstarch, it just pulls in all that flavor. I definitely recommend trying this out. You know, I think matter of fact, I know for a fact, even if you not a big beef and noodles fan, which I wasn't growing up, my mom's beef and noodles were kind of plain Jane. You'll love this recipe. But give it a try. Let me know what you think. So, and I'm sorry that we didn't get to do our traditional ending, although I think eating in front of you is kind of rude at times. I knew what it was going to taste like, and how do you know I'm not just pulling your leg and it's actually horrible? I always have that in the back of my mind. But anyhow, try this recipe. Tell me what you think. I do believe you'll like it. You know, I know you'll like it. So until tomorrow, we're gonna do what I believe is going to be an amazing cheesecake. It is a turtle cheesecake based on the candy, chocolate covered caramel and pecans, and it's not hard. I mean, it's no harder than any other cheesecake, but I think you'll like it. I guaranteed. So anyhow, try this. Let me know what you think. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know. If you try something different, let me know. I love conversation. So, till tomorrow, I love you. I love you very much. And I do mean that with all my heart. You guys have no idea. Tell somebody else you love them, and you love them very much. Make them some of this beef and noodles. You will have a friend for life, you know. Or, you know, yeah, I mean, you'll just have a friend for life. That's just all there is to it, you know. Or if they're already your friends, they're going to be over for dinner like every night because they think you're the best cook ever. All right, tomorrow, turtle cheesecake. I'll see you then. All right, love you.